Hello and welcome to my video breakdown for my entry into the Unreal 4 Winter Game Jam. It's titled Warmonger and the theme was All's Fair in Love and War. So my idea for this game jam had been to make a game where you essentially play as a merchant who has to play to both sides of a war to make a profit. So it's sort of, as they get into conflicts with each other, their resources will go down and you can use that to turn a profit. So right now, we'll go ahead and choose one of these guys. So you can see there's the military strength, provisions, medical supplies, and morale. And the background is color-coded based on how much of a demand there is for each one. So you can purchase and sell goods for military strength, provisions, and medical supplies, but morale is actually managed through events, which I'll go ahead and try to pull one up now. So you can see here, and up in this little corner here where it shows the two icons underneath, here are types of events that can happen. So there's minstrels, which are visiting, they raise morale, but then there's also a famine going on, which that's straining provisions every end of day. So when the effects are active, they sort of tick down, and you can see that in how it's going right now. But then each event also has a time until it activates. So you can see here, there's a coup that's going to occur in 2 days. And now 1 day. So this lets the player sort of say, okay, I know that this is going to happen soon, and this is going to start lowering this value. So you can sort of try and plan ahead and think, okay, this is where I should start sending things. And let me just go ahead and order some items. So as you can see here, there's just a bunch of things that the player can order. So we'll order 10 of the weapons, 10 armor, 10 food, 10 of everything really. And so you can see here, it's how much gold we're spending right now on all of this. As well, there's our total gold up in the corner. So we place the order, and then it takes a day or so for it to get here. So there we have our shipment, and now we can start an expedition. And the timer is actually paused during these moments so that it's not as frantic, although that might be a change that I would consider going back on in the future. So right here we have, there's medium demand for military strength, medium demand for provisions, and no demand for medical supplies right now. So what we'll do is we'll say 10 here, let's say 5 here, 5 there, 5 there, 5, actually no. So we'll add that, and you can send caravans to multiple locations. So let's go ahead and send some medical supplies here. So we'll start the caravan. It does take a day before that activates, and so there it goes, trucking on. Now, what you can't do is send a caravan across military lines. So you can't go from, say, this area to this one. So this is just sort of to play into the whole, yes, you can send to multiple locations, but you can't sort of get that optimal route, and you do have to sort of pay attention to how you capture things. Because, for example, if you were to have one kingdom capture this location, or sorry, both of these locations, then you've now shut off your route to one of them. So if blue takes this one, then you can't get any materials to red. And so that means that your only way of interacting with the red team is through some under-table dealings. So what we can do is we can essentially order and say, hey, I want this to happen to this location. So for example, what's a cheap one? So let's spread rumors. So we request that, and we'll say we want it to happen, yeah, let's say we want it to happen here. So now we have a few days until it activates. But there, we've now just essentially ordered a mechanic to happen and say we want to lower this effect. And so it's sort of just, it's kind of like a resource management game, except your goal isn't to win, it's to make sure that nobody wins or loses. And so what happens is the game ends once either of the capitals, which are here and here, are captured by the opposing team, or when peace talks occur. Because at the end of every month, a new effect is generated that's sort of more powerful than the ones that happen on a day-to-day basis or that you can order. And so those ones can sort of more drastically shift the tide of battle. And one of which is peace talks, which that just says, okay, things are wrapping up now. You have about a few days until things are over. At the moment, I don't have a special dealing set up for those bigger events. I did want to try and add one for, like, say, you assassinate an ambassador, and it kills morale, which makes it less likely for the peace talks to succeed. And so in this case, the Blue Kingdom loses an ally. So what's going to happen is all of the blue bases are going to be losing resources steadily for the next few days. And as you can see here, fights that broke out, no fights actually were finished. They're all sort of still in conflict. And you can see here our finances. So we have 280 gold spent, 280 earned. We're at a total profit of 0. Now keep in mind that this does account for the money we did spend on under the table dealings. So the end goal is just basically make the most profit that you can before the war inevitably ends, either through one team capturing the other, or through peace talks, or through other means. You can try and delay that for as long as possible, but it does happen eventually. I do think that overall this was pretty good. My one biggest flaw is that it definitely needed some more user experience work put in, because I do recognize that this is not necessarily ideal for introducing people, and it's a very mechanic heavy experience. That said, I do think that I'd like to continue this because it's a pretty neat concept. It just needs a lot more polish and fine tuning. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.